When I first started making castings many years ago, it rapidly became apparent that every time a different job turned up, it never seemed to fit the moulding boxes I already had. I had to make a new box, and slowly, over the years, I wound up with some 40 or 50 various size shaped wooden boxes, most of which have now rather deservedly become firewood. Eventually, of course, I made metal ones too, but it became apparent to me that there was a need for a box that could be fairly easily altered to cater for different sort of jobs. And this video, it's about the box that I have recently made in the series of making your own metal moulding boxes, and I hope to demonstrate in this video that it's an amazing, all singing, all dancing, technicolor, versatile moulding box. Well, okay, it's not technicolor and there'll be no singing and dancing, but I do hope to demonstrate its versatility. First thing though, the versatility does depend upon a few things. Firstly, it depends on the 45-degree corners. I think you could do most of this versatility with square corners, but this just makes it a bit easier, these diagonal corners. The second thing it depends upon, and this is, I believe, quite vital, is that at one end of the box we have a hole, and at the other end of the box we have a slit. Now, how does this work? Well, first of all, at this end, the hole controls the box this way and that way. At the other end, the slot controls it this way. We don't need to control it that way because that's controlled by the hole down this end. Now, you could, with good equipment and skill, make a box that had holes either end and the pins would fit. But remember, these holes, and the slot for that matter too, have only got a couple of thousandths of an inch clearance. If I wanted to have two pins fit two holes this far apart with only a couple of thousandths of an inch clearance in the holes, I'm going to have to be pretty good at getting the centre of the holes lined up with the centre of the pins. Now, yeah, you can do it, but it's not going to be easy. And as soon as you knock the boxes around a bit, it's all going to be gone. In addition, you will find that each box will be very individual. It will not fit any other box, and that's a situation I long ago realised was not a good thing. I'll demonstrate that in a minute. A couple of other things that are important for the versatility, I believe anyway. First of all, I've marked the side of the box here that I drilled through from. I've just got a little stamp here on the pin box for F for fixed. So I've got an F for fixed stamped here, and on the box with the holes and the slots I've got an H for the hole, and so that I know. Now, this is important because the whole idea here is that you can take these boxes apart, you can put them together in another configuration, but to really get the benefit of the versatility and have everything go together, you need to keep the side drilled from in the same orientation all the time. Okay, right. Now, the advantage that you get, and I'll demonstrate this with a couple of my older boxes here. Here are two boxes I've been using probably for 35 years now. And what we can do, lift that one off, put that one there, put that one there. Every box fits every box, and that's at times a considerable advantage. Part of the versatility of these boxes comes from the number of sides that we made patterns and therefore, I guess, castings for. Now, we had a 6-inch side, we had an 8-inch side, we had a 10-inch side, and we also had a 12-inch side that I haven't made any castings for. Now, by using these in various combinations, we can get quite a different number of boxes. We start off with a 6, an 8, a 10 and a 12, and we put a 6 down here, an 8 here, a 10 here and a 12 here. Now if you prefer metric, that's 150 mil, 200 mil, 250 mil and 300 mil, roughly. So we can make a box that's 6 by 6. We can make a box that's 6 by 8. We can make a box that's 6 by 10. And we can make one that's 6 by 12. Then we can make one that's 8 by 8. 8 by 10. And 8 by 12. Then we've got a box we can make that's 10 by 10. And finally 10 by 12. Well, not quite finally, because we do in fact have a 12 by 12. So from our 4 different side lengths, we can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different boxes. And it's my belief that that 10 boxes will cover most of what you will ever have to cast. And in fact, I would say that looking back at the work I've done over the years, about 50% of it would have been in that box, which is an 8 by 10 essentially. About, well, I don't know, 35–40% maybe would have been in this, which is a 6 by 8. And I guess, if I can find one, five to 10% in these, 10 by 12. The rest of the work, well, occasionally this little fella, and the rest of it would have been in all odds and sods of wooden boxes. But really, this and this are the main ones. The other thing that's apparent is that rectangular boxes, rather than square, seem to be better. And I guess this is because you've got a casting and you've got your runner and gate down this end and you're casting up this end. And it just seems to work that way. One of the things you can do with these boxes, by a little bit of careful pulling apart and putting back together again, if I just get 3 of these here, remember you can take one of these and you can take the pins from here and put them in here. Because we've machined these to receive pins. We've even got the little grub screw holes and everything. Now if you do that, what it allows you to do, take a box like this, pin the other, which is now pinned the other way, and make a nice 3-high box. Now I've found that quite useful over the years. I've made quite a lot of castings in 3-high boxes. You can, if you really want to go mad, make a 4-high, but I've never had any occasion to use a box that high. But maybe you will, you never know. But the point is you can do it, and you can get the flexibility out of your boxes to allow you to do that without having to go to the trouble of making up special boxes. Just slip these out of the way. Going back to these box sides that I made, I don't know, 40 years ago, sometime in the late 1970s, I think, early 80s, can't remember. These are the design, of course, that the new design is based on, the angled corners. Now, one of the things you can quite easily do with boxes like this, if you have this sort of thing, you want to do a casting like this, and oh dear, the box isn't big enough, what do I do? Well, what you can do quite simply is this. I've taken a box like this, got some longer bolts, and pack the corners out. Now you can pack 2 corners or all 4, you know, basically whatever you need to do. I wouldn't suggest using hollow tubes like this. They tend to fill with sand and the sand stays loose and it's a problem. But you can simply use bits of wood like this, holes drilled through for the bolts. You can use smaller bits of wood like this. Again, whatever you need to do in order to get the box you need for the job. Now, you might remember these, of course, from when I actually made the moulding box sides. The longer sides here wouldn't fit in any box I had, so I grabbed these old boxes and I just extended them with some bits of wood. And these bits of wood are only cut out of a square bit like that. And because of the hole in the slot arrangement, which gives you that little bit of come and go, you don't have to be terribly accurate with your bits of wood, and it all works fairly well. And I did quickly, using this trick, make up about, you'll see the second one also fits, I made up about 4 of these boxes to allow me to make my 4 of these sides at once. Okay. Using that sort of technique, if a long job turns up, well, you can make up something crazy like this. Right, now, you know, as I say, you can extend a box like this, different shape, size bits of wood. You can make it as long as you want by putting more sides on. The only thing I would suggest is using a bit of all thread across here like this to make the box rigid and to help hold the sand in. And if you get a really big job and you really want to go crazy, well, you can do this sort of thing. Now, here again, you would need bits of all thread across. You would need 4 pieces, 2 there and 2 there. Otherwise, the sand will probably fall. This sort of thing, of course, depends on whether you've got enough sand and how much weight you can lift. But these pieces, they're only just screwed in with wood screws, the same as the other ones that I've already shown. You will have noticed that I'm very keen on hole and slot arrangement, that I always use it. Always hole, slot, always do that, and I carry that through to things like the odd sides that I use over the years. I had to make quite a number of these, so I set it up in a little odd side that I cut just out of a bit of craft wood, and I could sit the, as you can see, I could just sit the pattern there, pick up a box, and it fits. And again, every box fits that, so I can go ahead and make as many of these castings as I've got boxes, which was 11, so I could make 11 moulds and turn them out fairly quickly. Now here is a similar sort of thing, this time using a bigger box. It's a pattern for a water pump, Massey Ferguson, I think. And as you can see, the parting line's a bit crazy on it. So you need a way to reliably set up the parting line. And again, this is it. And again, every box I have that's this size fits this odd side. There is one other thing you can do if you really wish to. You can quickly turn one of these boxes into a Snap-flask. What I've done here, I've put a garden hinge, sorry, not a garden hinge, I've put a door hinge in that corner of the box, and I just hold that one closed with a G-clamp crudely, and there I've got it. So I can make my mould, undo the G-clamp, take that off the mould, leave the mould sitting on its baseboard and pour it. I don't like this system because there's nothing around the mould to support it, and the metal can break through. Commercially they put a tin sleeve around it, but these ridges here would make that a bit problematic. But I mean, look, you can try it. I did try it. I didn't like it and I don't use it. But it is something you can do if you've a mind.